This episode of WoW Weekly is brought to you by WoWweekly.net, your source for Warcraft and Blizzard news, guides, and editorials.
This week in Warcraft, 6.2 is finally on the PTR. Hellfire Citadel will be the next raid with 13 bosses for us to kill, and a bunch of dungeon content will be relevant again. I'm Mezzy and welcome to our weekly episode number 61. We're back with the podcast this week, and 6.2 is on the PTR, so there's plenty for us to discuss. This week, LJ is joining me. Welcome, LJ.
Thank you, glad to be here.
It's been a while. How are things going?
Going quite well. Steady and easy. With you?
Yeah, quite busy. The uni project just finished, so thank God for that.
Yeah.
That was not fun. Other than that, just keeping things going, really.
Same old, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. So, no Matt this week.
No.
He's gone. He didn't actually tell us where he was going. I did see a Facebook photo of him at some event. No idea what it was. But it's just the two of us this week.
Well, he has a social life, so we don't, so let's just get on with it and ignore him.
Yeah, we don't need him anyway.
Exactly.
So, finally, as we knew we were going to get, Tanan Jungle is going to be the new zone for us to explore.
Yeah.
To get there, players with a level 3 garrison will have to make a new shipyard building. Right now, it costs a total of 6,000 garrison resources, including the building of your ship, on the PTR, but in, I believe, the next build, or at least soon, in a coming PTR build, that garrison resource amount will be lowered. So, it's going to be interesting to see how much it'll be lowered, but you will need garrison resources to actually get to Tanan Jungle. The shipyard will unlock new naval missions, for which currently there isn't much information about. So, as you can see, currently we have some screenshots passing by of Tanan Jungle. It's really Hellfire Peninsula from Outland. A lot of the stuff is in the same place as Hellfire Citadel is exactly where Hellfire Citadel was in Outland. So it's pretty cool how they have the combination of demonic energies and still the actual jungle. LJ, you haven't been on the PTR, have you?
No, I haven't.
So, as someone who hasn't been on the PTR, what would you expect from Tanan Jungle?
Well, it's cool that what you're saying to me, because it's to me it sounds like a transition period. If you think about how Hellfire Peninsula used to be, and then Tanan Jungle is now, and then how it's supposed to become Hellfire Peninsula. Mm-hmm. I mean, with the corruption of the orcs, and thus, of course, the land, I would expect that there would be a transition period where, fire meets forest, basically. Mm-hmm. We know what fire does with forests, but it's good to see what happens in between, and I think that's going to be very interesting and has a good, like you're describing it, I think it's going to have a very good feel as to how I would like to see that area.
Yeah, what they're going to do is, just like the rest of Draenor, is have the treasures, have the rare elites and stuff like that. The Throne of Kil'jaeden is back, it's there, and it's all demons, all elites. There's actually going to be a part of Tanan where it's just elite mobs, which is really cool. And the demons have new, models. Lord Kazak is back. This time he's the Supreme Lord Kazak.
Cool.
So, some really cool throwbacks back to the Burning Crusade, because one of the things that's going to be a plot point in the quests is going to be the Cypher of Damnation. Now, you might remember that from Shadowmoon Valley, back in Outland.
Wasn't that very long
yes.
quest line?
With basically the ghosts. and had the story about how Gul'dan tries to control the elements and how he raises a volcano in Shadow Moon Valley.
Yeah.
Well, the Cypher of Damnation is apparently back, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, and there's this whole vault of secret elements or something like that. The shamans are trying to protect the elements. So that's pretty damn awesome.
It sounds very cool, at least. Good
Yeah.
throwback to all the old stuff, the Burning Crusade stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you're pretty much seeing the repeat of everything that's happened again anyway.
Yeah.
So, with that said, let's head in.
Well,
Yeah.
like you said, it's already happened, so we didn't, some things we didn't see them happening, some things we did, so it's good to now actually see them happen in person and see how it actually contributes to, well, what happens to the orcs and such.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, with that, let's head into Hellfire Citadel, because Hellfire Citadel is a bit different from the last time. Hellfire Citadel Tier 18 will contain 13 bosses, and it's pretty much just Burning Legion themed. So, with that, we're going from the Iron Horde really quickly to just demons now. The Iron Horde is out of the window, Gul'dan has done his evil stuff.
Well, you can see exactly. I mean, when Gul'dan overpowers Grommash, you can see that. I mean, it's basically demons all the way down.
Yeah, exactly. So, what are we going to have as bosses? Well, Kilrog, Deadeye obviously had the... I assume everyone has seen the 6.1
Otherwise,
cinematic
spoilers!
by now. Otherwise, spoiler. Kilrog had drank the demon blood, and he's obviously going to be one of the bosses. Gorfiend is back. Aukendin was just a setback. Sokerthar is back again, this time as Sokerthar the Eternal. Manaroth is back, and he's going to be a skeleton this time. I think Gul'dan raises him back from the dead. So, despite us not killing him at first, he will be back in a, different form. Yeah. And then the end boss is Archimonde. Talk about seeing old faces.
Yeah.
Wow. Where's Gul'dan? Where's Grom? Is this the end?
I wouldn't know. I mean, it could be that this is almost the end. It could be that I don't know if there's going to be another tier after this. I'm going to say no. That this is probably going to be the last one. Mm-hmm. But yeah, what happens with Gul'dan and Kargath? Or what's not Kargath? Grommash. Mm-hmm. And I'm forgetting the name of the Archmage that we're helping again.
Khadgar?
Khadgar, exactly. Khadgar, something like that. So, I mean, it's interesting to see. I know, I mean, who knows, it might even develop into the next expansion. That the tensions, that it's still Gul'dan and Khadgar versus each other. Who knows what happens?
Yeah, because we've been saying forever we want demons. Demons are awesome. They are part of the main storyline of WoW in a lot of areas, and it's really cool to see them back. My concern is with if this is the final raid tier, why did we have to pay €10 extra for the entire expansions? Now we'll be paying more for less overall content, which kind of is a slap in the face.
It's a bit weird, to say the least.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know why, but yeah, it's. I hope they come with a reasonable explanation. Yeah, that's all I can say basically at the moment.
Yeah, because there's plenty of things to explore in Draenor. We could still have another raid with the Arakoa are interesting. If you remember, back in Outland, the Arakoa summoned an old god. We could possibly see that as another raid tier of Draenor, and actually battle that old god. Yeah.
So most of the times, yeah, except whenever we encountered old gods, like in Vanilla, it was the last boss, right, of the whole expansion?
No, because Naxxramas was after Anki.
Yeah. And also with, what's his name? Yoxeron was also not the last boss.
Yeah.
So it would be a bit weird that this would be, it would be one of the first times that would be actually one of the in the last tier, basically. Because, well, of course you had, didn't really battle them, but you had Nzoth in the last, more or less, with Deathwing.
Ah, yeah. We still haven't killed him in our Azeroth.
No, exactly. So, I mean, he's still up and about. There's 2 more, there's 5, right?
There's supposed to be 5. We know about Yog. We know about N'Zoth, who hasn't been killed yet.
Yeah.
Then there's Cthulhu, and then there's 2 more.
Yeah, who haven't been revealed yet, I believe.
I thought the 4th one was revealed as well, but I've forgotten his name.
It could be. I'll look at them up. But my point is, it's a bit weird that they will introduce him in the last raid tier. It's a bit out of style. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it could be a curveball because, let's face it, I wasn't expecting the Demon Raid to already be the 2nd raid tier of Warlords anyway.
Isarge.
Oh yeah, you're Sarge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of all the Shah, Mr. Pandaria.
Exactly.
So we've kind of defeated that old god as well. Because we've killed all the Shah. They were the 7 heads.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it would be really interesting to see if perhaps they're going to continue and pull all of the stuff out of Outland and bring that into Draenor. So we could see a final raid tier in that regard.
Yeah.
But if the only other thing that they could do is that Gul'dan actually comes back to our Azeroth, because I can't imagine having 2 expansions in this alternate universe. I think people would start to get annoyed that there then wouldn't be any story progression for our main universe.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Though it might be a way that Blizzard wants to, head into. See if they want to continue in this alternate universe instead of going back to our universe. Because, let's face it, an alternate universe gives a lot more options. And basically they've started before World of Warcraft came out, so they have a lot more options of what might happen or what can happen. I mean, they can basically refit vanilla TBC or whatever, in one new expansion.
Yeah.
Slap on a new label. I'm not saying rehash stuff, but definitely, reuse certain names, certain stuff, certain things. Make them new, of course, Blizzard style, but still, I mean, it gives them a lot more potential to revisit old locations and reuse them while adding also new stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
because one of the indications that is the last raid here is that one of the images that just came by was the monument of Gul'dan and Khadgar. It's been in the game since the beta, that monument, and when it's still currently in game, it's just that the time is a flat circle or something like that. That's the description. The description has actually changed now to defeat Archimonde on normal or difficulty or higher before the release of the next tier of content. We've always thought that the Gul'dan Khadgar monument, because it's so cool, would be the reward for the final boss of Warlords.
Yeah.
So that kind of is another indication that it is the last raid tier.
True. So I mean that's why. That's also why I'm thinking that if this is the last raid, this is not going to be the last raid tier. At least that's what it feels like at the moment. Especially if there's still an old god to come, they have to introduce him then in the last raid tier, which would be weird. But I mean, it would be something new, to put it like that.
Yeah.
So I'm really wondering what Blizzard has still got up their sleeve. I mean, it could be still like this would be the real big last raid tier that they throw something small afterwards at us. It can be many amount of things, because Blizzard has done a lot of things in the past, that has amazed us, not always in the positive way, but who knows?
Cough, selfie, cough. I have to mention it for Matt, because he's not here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So with that aside, in general, I'm really looking forward to killing Archimonde. I mean, he's a really big lore figure, and just the demon theme is really cool.
Yeah, though it's weird we're going to kill him in like this.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows if wisps will be included or not? But
well, in his raid area, in his zone, there is a portal there. It's completely fell energized, but who knows? Maybe the wisps will come out from Mount Hyjal and
maybe he'll go towards the World Tree. You don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's also
exactly.
possible. Maybe he'll even portal to the real dimension and not this alternate universe. I mean, that's also a possibility. Who knows?
Yeah.
That the Burning Legion is aware of everything.
It would be really cheesy, but really funny at the same time if we did see wisps come out of the portal, though.
Yep. I would laugh. I would pretty hard laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, anything else you want to say about Hellfire Citadel before we move on?
No, not really. I don't think so.
All right, then I'd say take it away.
Yes, and I will. And let's start off with the one thing we're doing it for, of course, the legendary. I mean, what else do we want? Some more stuff has been announced on that part. The ring that we've been working on has now finally become legendary, and it has a buff it can give. Though the weird thing is, and I just found out myself, I didn't read it correctly, so that was my mistake. It's an on use instead of an equip buff, so that's pretty cool to see. And I'm just gonna read out the agility one because we both play hunters. So then you would have Malus the Blood Drinker. Of course, it gives agility and stuff. But now if you use it, it activates the power of Thrasus, Nithramus, and Malus. So that's the three names of the DPSing, the damage dealing rings, if I'm correct. Yeah. And if you use it, you empower everybody, dealing 25% additional damage for 15 seconds. So, and when this effect ends, you explode. That would be interesting. For 25% of all damage dealt by the empowered allies to all enemies within 20 yards. So basically, two things. Or three things, basically. It's an on-use, but if you use it, everybody gets empowered. So, like you mentioned before, Messi, it's like, does that mean if I use it that everybody's cooldown is off? Or can somebody else use it as well then? Because that would be overpowered. I'm guessing not. I'm guessing the first. But yeah, it would be still weird that for instance, if you need to blow it at a certain point and somebody accidentally uses it, that it spoils it for, I don't know, like half the raid.
Yeah, that's a real concern of mine because that would mean that if you have an idiot in the raid, it happens. It could waste the cooldown for everyone. Now, 25% for damage for 15 seconds is a lot, and on top of that, damage gets doubled at the end. All the damage combined explodes and does the full damage again, which is, well, let's say heroism on steroids. It's insane.
Yeah.
If that means that because that has to be a shared cooldown for everyone then, because otherwise you can keep chaining it or all on once. Let's say you have 10 DPS. Well, that's an increase of 250% damage.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Insane.
I mean, that is very insane unless they're going to give the bosses 1 billion health this next raid here, which I very much doubt.
Yeah, and they just, if they make the same mistake again of designing the raid on people having the ring, just like with the cloaks, then that's going to be detrimental for the players that don't have the rings, the more casual player who will take longer to actually get to the ring. Yeah. And that would be history repeating itself, because that wasn't great in Siege of Orgrimmar, especially when it came to tanks. Had the tanks with basically their extra cooldown, if they would otherwise die, the cloak would save them. That, for Mythic or then still Heroic raiding, was really important to have, because sometimes Heroic Siegecrafter, for example, you were kind of counting on it to be one of the cooldowns, especially when it came to 10-man Heroic raiding at the time.
Yeah.
So they can't repeat that same mistake. So that leaves my other issue. So now another player has control over part of my character. Why would another player get to decide when I get to use my ring? I worked for the ring myself.
Yeah.
I don't want another player, even if it's by accident, to say, now you use your ring. I want to have my choice in that.
Exactly, yeah. For me, I can like for if you're going for mythic, especially that could really dampen things. I think, or
Yeah.
really screw things over. if
Yeah,
it's
because another
wrong.
thing is, different classes have different minutes on the cooldowns. So that would mean that for, I believe, the Elemental Shaman Ascendance is 3 minutes.
Yeah,
If there's another caster with a 2-minute cooldown and they want to align it with that, then you're going to have fights in the team about when you're using the ring, because what do you want to use it with cooldown A or cooldown B for the different players?
yeah. Well, you're
It's-
going to use it on heroism anyways, but I mean, yeah. After that, who knows?
It causes a lot of issues, and they have to change. Obviously, it's PTR. Anything can change. I mean, the on-use effect has already changed from PTR build 1 to PTR build 2. So there's a lot of possibilities for change still. And I feel like they really need to do that because it causes too many issues, and it's unfair to the players themselves.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I think it's pretty weird that they go in this direction. I know that they all like to experiment with the legendaries, do new things, give new buffs, stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty weird that they do it this extreme. Like everybody has a ring here, have fun with it. Everybody can spoil it or ruin it for everybody. So it's a bit weird. I mean, I don't see the benefit of it as well. I see that, or well, the benefit. I like the idea of the whole thing. Everybody does a combined damage and then twice that. I think it's a pretty cool idea, but the way it's executed now is a bit weird.
Yeah. The thing is about the unuse, Blizzard did that so that it didn't feel like the cloak proc. For example, your cloak would proc when the boss went into the arrow, I think was the example. So then the proc would be wasted. To take that RNG element out of it and give you more control over it.
I agree with that, but don't make it so that the whole group can, because you're taking out an element of RNG and putting in another element of RNG. Even if it's only, even if it's human controlled, it's still you can control what other people do. So for you, it's RNG.
Yeah, because the new element of RNG is human stupidity. And as my t-shirt says, I have my sarcasm t-shirt on, the body's natural defense against stupid. I know it's a controversial position to take, but the average human being tends to make mistakes.
Well, he doesn't mean you watchers, of course. So let's move on to the next bit.
Yeah.
Before we start bashing people who are watching this, Apexis crystals will no longer have a cap, which is great because now you can buy a mount for 150,000 of the things. I'm going to shoot myself.
Yes, it's a fel-infused wolf.
It looks awesome, but why? Just to spend it?
Yeah, here's the thing. In Tanan Jungle, you now have another Apexis daily. So you'll have the one in, let's call it Classic Drenor, where you can get 800 to 1,000 crystals per day. And in Tanan, I've only seen quests for 800 Apexis crystals so far. Who knows, there might be a group quest there as well. Sure. I actually imagined it would be with Throne of Kil'jaeden because there's only elites there. That would make sense.
It would. And then you have a lot of Apexis crystals. I mean, do you spend your Apexis crystals? What do you spend them? I don't spend them either.
Not at all. The thing is, my Apexis crystals are spread over 5-6 different characters. Because you get the garrison missions and you do them. And great, now I'll keep extra focus on them because I know I'm going to need 150k for the next patch. But you can only save up to 60k now, I believe, and I'm at like 33k.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I mean, it's per character how much you have. You can't group them up on one character from the whole account and spend them, which would be ideal, but, cheating a little bit. Well,
exactly.
Spending your time effectively, because if you play alts, then I think you should also be rewarded for that, but that's another discussion. Yeah. I think we can move on because this is only a small.
Yeah, it's a small topic. It's noteworthy though because 150k Apexis crystals is a lot.
That's going to take a little while.
Yeah.
So another good announcement though is that dungeons will have a mythic difficulty.
Called it before WoD. Just wanted to say.
Yeah, we did discuss it, didn't we?
Yep.
You called it though, but yeah. Okay, so we have the dungeons will have a new difficulty level. You can do it once a week, and it will be geared towards the people who are actually mythic raiders or like to do more difficult stuff, but then in a smaller group. It will give item level 680 gear with the chance of item level 700 gear at the end boss. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Basically, I think it's a good addition that they did not only log the difficulties to the mythic difficulty to raiding, but also to dungeons now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you can't get 20 players, well, maybe you can get 5 and do difficult stuff.
Yeah,
it's a good idea.
Exactly, because let's face it, the audience is those that's like a challenge, but either don't want to be in giant groups, 20-man mythic raiding.
Yeah.
That's quite a challenge to get a good team of 20 people together. Or
it's sometimes even a challenge of getting 20 people together, let alone good people that can actually tackle mythic. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And also those that don't, like myself, don't like the time element of challenge modes. That's why I don't do them, because I freaking hate time challenge games. Doesn't matter which games. I think Crash Bandicoot back on the PlayStation 1 had time events.
Trials, no matter what. Yeah. I mean, I've always hated them. I mean, I think they're stressful. I think they're not rewarding enough sometimes. I think it goes against the point of enjoying yourself, just having fun. I mean, if you like it, go ahead. I like racing games as well, but that's more the challenge than time trials, because time trials are always stupid in my idea.
Yeah. Another great thing of this is item level 680. That's 5 item levels underneath heroic, not Heimal, Blackrock Foundry.
Yeah.
So it's a catch-up mechanic as well, which means that if people want to catch up and they put the effort in, which is the entire idea of higher content, they get rewarded for it. And on top of that, item level 700, which is mythic Blackrock Foundry quality. Yeah. So that's a pretty awesome way for people to catch up, but at the same time actually put effort into getting the loot. Exactly.
I think it's a good way to establish a middle ground towards two camps, like the more end tier and the more laid back and such. I mean, who do want to do more stuff but can't get there. Or like me, I enjoy playing with a certain raid or certain people more than committing myself to a mythic guild. So, but I would still like the challenge of 5-mans and getting some good gear out of it in the process.
Yeah, there's one question that remains right now, because we don't know if Mythic Dungeons are going to be like that you can sign up via the looking for group tool, random dungeons. Or if it's going to be like challenge modes, where you have to get your own group together and then physically go to the dungeon entrance to be able to enter it.
I'm going to go for the second, for the ladder, or for the ladder, I believe. Yeah, not the form, but the ladder. Because, like you said, I mean, with the dungeon tool, it goes for normal and heroic, which I think is good enough. Mythic should be done, with people. There's something to be said, of course. So if you want to try it with randoms, go ahead, fine. But I think it's better that they actually close those things down to just if you want to play it, you find a group and you go for it, and no complaints. You can only have yourself to blame because you invited those people or you joined with those people.
Yeah, because it is actually a weekly lockout as well. So you don't really want to get saved to the dungeon.
No,
with random people.
By killing one boss with random people who then leave because two people came for item loot that didn't drop, so they left, or I don't know, whiners, griefers, trollers, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to actually be a hurdle for some people, because other than the challenge mode crowd, people aren't used to getting their own groups together for 5-man content.
No.
It's really a throwback, which we're going to get into in a bit as well, to the Burning Crusade, to Classic.
Well, take it away then.
Well, I'm not sure. Are we done with Mythic Dungeons?
I think so. We've talked.
All right.
So ignore that part, people. Nice segue.
Yes, our segue is perfect. So we're going to continue with the throwbacks, with dungeons as well, which is awesome. With Timewalker Dungeons, they're finally going to be added. Now here's what they've said about them. In patch 6.2, we're introducing 7 different weekend events that will run from noon Friday through noon Monday every week. So first of all, we're going to have weekend events. Completely new things, which is pretty awesome as well, to keep people engaged. 2 of those events will be time walking weekends, in which you'll be able to queue up for a randomly selected old school dungeon with a new sort of heroic difficulty. Now from the Burning Crusade, the dungeons they've revealed are the Alcatraz, Black Moors, Monotombs, Shattered Halls, and the Slave Pens. And for Wrath of the Lich King, Ankerhet, the Old Kingdom, Gundrak, Halls of Lightning, the Nexus, and Utgard Pinnacle. So here's where, other than Black Moors, I have an issue with it. Because I'm happy with the Timewalker Dungeons. It's a feature I've been looking forward to, which we know that they've been trying to implement for a while now. The problem is, it's just a weekend event, and they're 2 out of 7 different weekend events. So you, first of all, if it's the weekend event, you can only do the Timewalker Dungeon in the weekend. And if you're like me, I don't have much time in the weekend either, so that kind of sucks. And secondly, you're not even going to be able to do it every weekend. It's going to be 2 out of 7 different weekend events. So they haven't even said what the other weekend events are yet. Perhaps they'll be great, they'll be awesome, fantastic. But I really like the Timewalker concept. I would like to run the Alcatraz weekly. That would be really fun.
True. I totally agree. I think that this is something that we've been saying for a little while, I think, with revisiting old places, old dungeons, old locations, even though they put in Black Moors for God knows what reason. Blizzards are full of nincompoop sometimes, to keep it PG-13.
Lore-wise, it makes sense for
lore-wise, it's perfect. I mean, it's like I said to you before. I mean, we both hate the dungeon, but I mean, it's the point where the horde comes in, entering into the world. I mean, that's the Orcish horde. I mean, then. So I mean, I totally understand that. But from the other, from like you said, the other point that it's only going to be 2 out of 7. Kinds of weekends, and knowing Blizzard, they can sometimes screw up the rotation of that. So you might have it in like 14 weeks, you have one of them. Not dissing the other events, because they can be just as awesome or maybe even better, but this is something that we've know that's coming, and we've been wanting it for a long time, so it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to, and I really hope that they include more stuff like this, because
because it is a short list of dungeons right now. I would love them to see, first of all, we're missing stuff like the Steam Vaults, Shadow Labs. The one
Shadow Labs would be cool with Murmur, but I mean, there's a lot of other dungeons that I would like to see on there, but it's good that they've at least started with it. I mean,
yeah, let's hope they continue with converting the other dungeons as well, and not that we have to wait for patch 7.0 or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
But actually, let's say a month after 6.2 releases, release 6.2.1, in which 2 or 3 more dungeons have been converted to Timewalker Dungeons. Yeah. Especially considering that the loot of the Timewalker Dungeon will then be upgraded to Warlords of Draenor quality loot.
Yeah.
So that means, I think the example they gave was the epic sword from Utgard Pinnacle. Now, if you remember in Wrath of the Lich King, I believe the end boss always dropped an epic, or had a chance.
On heroic.
On heroic.
I believe so. Or was that Burning Crusade.
Burning Crusade was the chance because I remember very well the bow from Steam Vaults that never dropped.
Yeah, true that. So, yeah.
So I think it was in Wrath of Lich King that it was a guaranteed drop out of a set of epics. So the sword was given as an example. That sword would then become a Warlords of Draenor quality epic item after you finish the dungeon. So if you've been playing for so long as we have, then it actually has a really nice nostalgia factor as well. You actually get to keep the loot and use it in Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah. Yeah, so that is a very cool aspect of it.
Yeah. So, if anyone is watching from Blizzard, give me Steam Vaults. I want my bow, damn it.
Finally, you will have your revenge on that bow after 8 years?
Yes.
7, something like that.
Yeah. So, I hope they expand on it because that's the thing though. With the weekend events, and in that sense, it makes sense. There's 2, 4, 5 dungeons for each. So there would be 5 different dungeons for the Timewalker weekend for Burning Crusade, and 5 for Wrath of the Lich King. When there's only 5 dungeons, it'll get stale really quickly because it's only the 5. If you keep getting the same ones, so that would suck. You want to expand the different dungeons that you can possibly get.
True. Yeah, definitely. I don't have that much more to add, to be honest. I think it's a great idea, and I think it's one of the first times that I actually agree fully with what Blizzard, fully, as much as I can, with what Blizzard are doing.
Yeah. So 6.2 overall is looking pretty damn good. Lore-wise for the raid and the new zone, the new features in Mythic Dungeons and Timewalker Dungeons. It's disappointing that it's probably the last patch, or major patch at least, of Warlords. Let's hope that that's not the case. I really hope so.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we actually get to see that old god. That would be really cool. A nice twist. But it's looking pretty good. I know some people, or a lot of people, were disappointed with 6.1. 6.2 is looking to be pretty good. And this is only the second PTR build.
Yep, exactly. So I think that's it's a good thing that that Blizzard is redeeming itself after a very, very poor 6.1. That 6.2 is going to be pretty good.
Yeah. So before we leave it, there's one thing I forgot to mention, and that is the crafting items. You're actually going to be able to upgrade your crafting items again. There's going to be 2 new tiers. Rank 5 is item level 700, and rank 6 is item level 715. So that puts it, the final rank puts it above Mythic Blackrock Foundry quality. So that's pretty damn insane.
That's cool.
To build it, you're going to need a new regent called Fellblood, which will also be available through the barn. Now the question is,
what do you need to kill to get that?
What do you need to trap to get that? Yes, I'm
or
guessing.
Kill trap, yeah.
There are going to be special beasts in Tanan Jungle because I imagine that you still get the Savage Blood from Nagrand.
Yeah, I'm thinking fell infused beasts.
Yeah.
That of course fell blood, fell infused beasts. So think green boars and green stuff.
Yeah, anything green.
Yep.
And another interesting thing is that the upgrades for ranks 2 through 4, I believe, will all use the same item now. So instead of having to create different upgrade items for ranks 1 through 4, they're all going to use the same item, and you can just repeat making the same thing to upgrade it to the rank 4, which I think is 685.
Yeah.
So that's a nice change to just make the quality of life easier for players themselves.
Yep. Yeah, true.
Anything else profession-wise? The outputs has been increased of creating the materials through the daily cooldown. So, for example, for leatherworkers, your daily cooldown for burnished leather will now give more than 10. I'm not sure how much it will be.
I read it somewhere, but I can't remember how much it was. So it was definitely a big increase.
I should have checked on the PTR.
You should have.
I was on the PTR right before to get some more screenshots.
I'm disappointed in you now, Messi.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed in myself as well.
Good.
And then finally, jewel crafting, epic gems. They're coming back.
Immaculate.
Yes, immaculate gems. Players will unlock it by completing a short quest line at an Arakoa encampment when they enter Tanan jungle. You will get the versatility gem recipe for free. And to unlock the other recipes, you must find or purchase gem cutter modules from various sources. So it looks like they've kind of added the exploratory mechanic of warlords in general to the epic gems. And epic gems kind of indicate last raid tier as well.
Yeah, exactly. They always happen on the last raid tier.
Yeah.
So it could be definitely one. That could be definitely the main indicator that this is going to be the last raid tier.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's everything. 6.2 has a lot to offer. I would definitely recommend you going on the PTR. Perhaps wait with it until the resource cost to going into Tanan is lowered. If you don't have at least 6,000 resources on your character. But it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah.
So, it's this was the first podcast in probably 2 months, maybe a bit less. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much to LJ for joining me.
No problem. Glad to be
See,
here.
we survived it. We don't need Matt.
Barely. With the skin on my teeth.
Exactly. So, if you liked the podcast, please comment, subscribe, click on the like button. You can also follow us on Facebook or Twitter at facebook.com/WoWweekly or twitter.com/bumezi.
Or follow him down the street.
No, don't do that. Not that I'm on the street a lot, except for going to uni and stuff like that. Outside, it's scary outside, man.
Outside. I heard the graphics are good though, but the rest is pretty crappy.
Yeah, the gameplay is terrible.
Yeah, it needs an update.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, we're so nerds. But
anyway, let us know what you think of patch 6.2 so far. Do you like it? What's missing? What would you like to see different? In the comments, obviously, either here or on Facebook, doesn't matter.
Also, let us know what you thought of the podcast, of course. I mean, if you have any tips, tricks, ideas, positive comment, feedback, whatever, go for it.
Yeah, we checked the sound beforehand, so if it's bad now, I'm going to hit something. Maybe LJ.
Sue Skype. Oh, don't hit me, please.
It's okay. You live too far away. I'm not going to go with the train for 2.5 hours just to hit you.
The other people just live far enough away from him, then you're safe.
Yeah, exactly.
His laziness takes over.
Well, also the cost in the weekend. I mean, I think it was 30 euros just...
A round trip, right?
Yeah, so too much. I'm not going to spend money on that. You're not worth that.
Let's just get it over with. You're hurting my feelings, man.
Okay, well, I'm glad I could do that before we ended the podcast. So, once again, thanks for watching. If there's a lot to talk about, we'll do the podcast again next week. Otherwise, you can expect a news edition. So, I'm Mezzy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.
See ya.